Hello everyone, this is Mrs. Lehman. I figured I'd do a quick video to help anyone out who's still a little confused on mean absolute deviation. So I'm going to give you the steps on how to find this. So MAD stands for mean absolute deviation. So that is the average amount that these values varied from the mean. All right, so first of all, you have to know the mean of the data set that you are dealing with. Then your second step is to find the difference between each data value and the mean. Find the deviation, they call it, and that's where you just subtract. If you have data values that are below the average, obviously you're going to have to have some negative numbers there. So we're going to turn any of those negatives into positives. By number 3, we're going to find the absolute value of each. And then the fourth step is to take all those deviations that you found, their absolute values, right? So it's all positive numbers at this point. You're going to add them all up and divide by how many numbers you had. So I'm going to give you an example. So step 1 is to find the mean of the data. So let's say I gave a quiz and the grades were 80, 90, 65, 75, and 100. So your first step is to add those up. So I will just walk you through that. Go to calculator here. So you have 80 plus 90 plus 65 plus 75 plus 100. So we get a total of 410. So 410 divided by, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, divided by 5. So you're going to take your number, divide it by 5 in this case. That means the average score here is an 82. All right? So that's our mean score. So for the deviation, what you need to do is figure out how does 80 compare with the average score of 82. So you would take your number from your grade, your data value, whether it's grades, temperatures, whatever you're dealing with. You're going to take that data value and then subtract your mean. All right? So 80 minus 82 is a difference of 2, right? And it's 2 below the average. If someone got a 90, you would take 90, and that we know is 8 above the mean, right? That's a higher score than average, right? If somebody got a 65, what you would need to do is take 65 minus 82. So you would go ahead and subtract that. Find the difference in the two numbers. So that's a difference of 17. But again, this is below what the average was. So it's negative 17. And 75, well, you're going to take 75, subtract it from 82. That's a difference of 7, and that's 7 below the average. And then you had somebody who got a 100. So 100 minus 82. We know that this child got 18 above, by subtracting, they got 18 above what was typical for that class. So we have the deviations. Your next step is to, not worry about whether it was above or below the below the mean. So if you have a negative 2, you're just going to change it to positive. You're going to keep your positives positive, because when we're dealing with absolute values, we're just looking at the amount and not necessarily how it compares as far as being above or below. All right, so we have these numbers. So our next step is to find the mean of those numbers. So whenever you're finding the mean of something, you need to add up your numbers. So I'm going to clear this calculator out and do that here. 2 plus 8, obviously we know that's 10, plus another 17, plus 7, plus 18 equals a total of 52. So we're going to write 52. That was the total number of, that was the deviation overall from the score of 82 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different kids. So you're going to take 52 divided by 5, and you're going to get 10, you're going to get 10.4 as the mean absolute deviation. Okay, So what that's saying is if this test were given out of 100 points, right? You can I can kind of draw a picture here to help you visualize this. So maybe I'll start at 60, 70, oops, not 75, what am I doing? 70, 80, 90, and 100. So we had a score of 80, right? We had a score of 90, we had a score of 65, we had a score of 75, and we had a score of 100. We found the average to be 82, right? So those high grades kind of pulled up some of those lower grades that were, you know, down in the range of 65, 75. So anyway, what that's saying is you're kind of creating a bit of like how do I want to describe this? So it's like most of your scores are going to fall in between here. That's where you're typically going to see most of your scores, because I went about 10 below 82 and 10 above 82. And that's going to say that on average, kids were scoring within 10 points of that mean test score of 80. Okay? It's a measure of variability. If you have a really large, not necessarily a large data set as far as the number of numbers that you collected, but as far as the range of numbers, you're going to probably deal with some bigger mads. So you kind of have to look at it like relative to what you're dealing with. So we're dealing with 10.4 out of like 100 points. So, you know, that's not a very big mad in my opinion. If I saw numbers like a span of, you know, 20, that's kind of a big deal, okay, because that means you have a lot of kids scoring in the 60s. You also have a lot of kids doing really well on it, so it's kind of all over the place. So the smaller the mad, the smaller the variability. And again, just to flip back in case you are looking for this, you find the mad by finding the mean of the data, find the difference between each data value and the mean. We call that the deviation. And then you're going to just turn those all into positive numbers, because that's what you do with absolute value, because we're essentially just finding the distance from the average, whether it be positive or negative. And then we're going to add all of those absolute values and then divide by how many numbers we were dealing with. So if you have any questions, you can always email me, but please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I hope this little video helped you. Bye.